Hey fam, it's your girl IJF. If you are new to my channel, welcome, and if you're returning, welcome back. Before I get started, you know what to do. Please hit the subscribe button, like button, comment button. There ain't no comment button, but just hit all the likes and all the good stuff for me, because y'all, I just quit my job and I feel so good. But we'll talk about that in another video, because I'm here for Antebellum. Again, before I get started, subscribe, like, you know what it is. Help a sister out. I'm a little sick, so my sound sounds deeper, okay? Of course, my battery want to start flickering. I'll be back. Back to my review of Antebellum. So I started watching the film yesterday because I got off of work on Friday, kind of went out, blah, blah, blah. So the film starts off with some like general, you know, like somebody that's a part of the army walking up on this this plantation, this land. And we see that there's a little white girl who also starts walking, right? She's walking upstairs. Okay, so the film starts off very beautiful scene, by the way, very beautiful scenery. There's two horses, brown and white, eating grass. So we start off with a plot of land, you know, it's the plantation. We see the head white woman in charge, honey, okay? She is there, ready to do what she does best, which is support her man in the terrible things that he do. So she's at the top and her daughter or some child was running towards her, right? And then the scene continues and we see there are black people on the land working, assumingly obviously slaves, and they're just fixing something up. There's like this tent that they're fixing, which we are going to know why that tent is important. And you see just beautiful scenery of black bodies, right? And they're doing what they are there to do, which is labor. And we see these soldiers walk past and they're wearing like a gray uniform. So we know that they are obviously Confederate soldiers because Union soldiers wore blue. So we know that these black bodies are doing this labor for a group that wants to keep them confined. They're walking on the land, and we see, unfortunately, that these Confederate soldiers have had, they've caught some black folks trying to run away. And we see that the guy is obviously a slave because of the tool that he has around his neck. Lord. Okay. And then we see that he is attacked by the Confederate soldiers, and his, I'm assuming his partner or his lover continues to run away. Okay, because when they caught him, they caught both of them, but she continues to run. And when she gets caught, she's like, look, take me out. I mean, I think a lot of people, I think we've done a lot of readings about people, and we know that the way that they like to tell us slavery was, which is, you know, these people were so good at their duties. There's a lot of people rebelling, okay? Many people committed suicide. I mean, we know the whole beloved story. That's not an anomaly. That's very much, it happened throughout the world. Well, people who are from the African diaspora can relate. Because I don't speak for any other group on my channel. So, the whole people of color stuff, not over here. I mean, I know and I'm aware of what has happened, but I just want to speak for myself, but I don't want to say anything that pissed anyone off. So, you know, I'm going to speak for black people because I'm black. But anyway, back to the movie. The girl gets caught. The soldier shoots her and kills her, and then they continue to proceed with whatever they're going to do with the man. And then we see Janelle Monáe. Now, we don't know her name in the movie yet, but we see her. She is over a horse. I'm pretty sure she also was a part of the whole plan of trying to escape too. So she has gotten caught with her two accomplices, right? Okay, so she gets caught, Janelle Monáe, again, we don't know her name yet, and they proceed to take her to this room and start to beat her up. And when I say they, there's one Confederate soldier, an older white man, who was telling her, you know, what is your name? What is your name? And she's not saying nothing. And then he starts to beat her. Like I'm obviously, come on. He probably sees her as an animal because that's how these people thought and probably think, he starts to harm her, beat her up. And then after basically almost taking her life, he said, you know what, stand up. He makes her stand up and he brands her. And when he brands her, that's when we find out that her character's name is Eden. He leaves her on the floor crying, and then he says, I'm gonna go get some chicken tomorrow so you can make for us tomorrow. I'm sorry, I'm gonna go get some chicken for us so we can make tomorrow. So obviously we know that they see black people as superhuman beings, you know. He probably thinks her cooking tomorrow is gonna be something nice, a nice gesture, you know. It's gonna take her mind off of the situation, so I'm gonna go get some chicken. I mean, I'm pretty sure we don't even know the true gruesome nature of slavery. This is just imagination. I can only imagine what reality was. And for to be honest, I don't want to think about it. But anyway, the next morning she is back at work, okay? She has been assaulted, branded, but she is still back at work, okay? And the man that wanted to run away, he's also in the field with them. So when I say back at work, they're working on a cotton field. And they're picking and picking, and then there's a head dude in charge, okay? And he is looking over them, of course. And then I guess they feel some type of weather. You know, our people are a little more connected to the earth than some people who claim to be the real human beings. Oops. But anyway, moving on. You see that there's this type of like airy atmosphere, you know, and again they hear like it sounds like there's rain that's about to come, but the man who's in charge, a white man, he's like, go back to work, and start singing little Negro songs or whatever. And then he comes to the guy who had ran away and hit him in the head with a gun. Obviously they're taunting him now because they know that he's a bad seed, you know. If you ask me, he probably just is really normal. And he's like, I don't know, this is not life, okay? The Haitians got it real quick. But he hits the guy in the head and the guy falls, and the next scene is Janelle Monáe is in the cabin that she was getting beat up in, and the same dude comes to her, the one who got in the head with the gun, and says, win. I'm sorry, that dude and the guy who got caught running away, they're not the same. I'm sorry, that guy had a much more like muscular and heavier face. But this guy is like, when are we gonna, you know, run away? And she just closed the door because she's like, I just got branded. Like, now it's okay to think about the process of running away for a better life, but it's another thing when you actually have to deal with the consequences, like, you know, having your flesh melted off of your body, okay? So next we see that there is a new group of black people on the land. I'm trying my best not to say slaves, but we have a new group of black people here to work, and we find out that this plantation is a reform plantation. So I guess they have all the, you know, out of hand black folks who are like, look, we need to get out of this situation because this whole slavery stuff, not for it. So it's a reform plantation. So basically everything that they knew that they could even have as a slave is taken away from them at this place. You know, they're not able to talk to one another. They're only allowed to whistle, which is a tactic to get them from talking. They're only given permission to speak by a white person, if a white person allows them to speak. And by the way, this is how charter schools are. I'm just gonna throw that in there. I know no one asked, but this is how charter schools are. And by the way, charter schools are predominantly in black neighborhoods. So just letting you know, But basically everything that they could have ever thought of, even like I said, as what they are, is taken away from them here. The light-skinned girl, she's standing there. You can tell that she's very traumatized. She don't know what's going on, but she is the most traumatized out of the whole group. And now they're standing in line as a whole. We have the white woman and her child comes up and start looking at them, like checking them, examining them, you know, like cattle. And she says, honey, what should we name this one? Like a pet. And the white girl, like, Julia. And to me, it's so crazy because in Ghanaian culture, it takes an additional 7 days to name a child after the whole 9-month process. So naming someone is very important, and your name is your identity. Your name is what navigates you, I think, through life. It's what people call you by. It's what you answer to. it is a part of your dignity and part of respect. But out of nowhere, this little girl, this little is the one naming this person. So the child names the light-skinned girl Julia, and they continue to examine the black folks who done came onto this plantation. So Eden is also put in charge of the new folks who had came on to the plantation. So the next day, you have the light-skinned girl Julia come to Eden and say, what are we doing? You know, like, what's the plan? Which I don't understand why everyone keep coming to Eden for this plan stuff. And we find out that she's originally from Virginia. I guess she's some big shot because everyone keeps coming to her like, when are we gonna make our move? She must be like the baby Sojourner Truth for Harriet at this place, because, or she's had been known for that, because everybody keeps saying, what are we doing? Why I keep coming to her? They keep burdening her. But I don't know, maybe she's just that girl. So next scene, we see them at this little that little TP thing that they were building for these Confederate soldiers. Craziness. So they're having some celebration, and we have, I guess, one of the colonels or cadets. I really don't know what these folks are called in the army, but they have one of their big guys come in with the blue uniform and say, we got one of those Union bastards. And then they start, you know, clapping, you know, typical frat boy stuff. You know, it started back in the day, okay? That's why when you hear stuff about them today, it was their forefathers. But they start talking about the guy who brought the uniform in. He starts giving out this speech that, you know, this land is theirs. It's inherently, it belongs to them. Everything about this land is in their blood. Child, I came from Europe on the Mayflower. Why is there a land that you didn't come from, your people didn't come from, supposedly now yours? But this is how they think, you know, this is how these folks think. That's why, you know, when I'm not even gonna go there. I keep derailing. But what I'm trying to say is manifest destiny, which was something a lot of Europeans who came here thought that, you know, anything in their way that they wanted was supposed to be theirs because they were supposedly better. That they had guns though, so that kind of gave them an advantage. But moving on, after the speech is given, you have the black laborers moving around, filling people drinks, fixing their chairs, you know, being the help. Unfortunately, the traumatized help, okay? And then you have one of the Confederate soldiers say to the Julia girl, come over here, you're so pretty, you know? Which I don't understand. How do you sleep with somebody or be attracted to something that you have deemed as an animal or not completely human? But these folks do, you know, mess with animals. Okay, moving on. So Julia comes in and, she comes over, obviously upset and just, okay, let me just do this to make my life easier. The Confederate soldier is talking to one of the other soldiers and say, oh yeah, take a look at this girl, isn't she pretty? And then she's just standing there very uncomfortably. And then the guy who's the overseer of all of the black laborers, he comes over and he basically stopped everything that's going on and basically tells her he's going to be at your headquarters, be ready. Thank you very much, bye. So next scene, we have this weird boy, because again, the boy who is sent to Julia's headquarters, at the table he wasn't saying much. In fact, he was kind of like speechless and uncomfortable, very like just, oh my god, you put me on the spot. So Julia, you know, unbeknownst to her, probably forgetting, she starts to speak to the guy and say, you know, I guess he's also trying to play a mind trick on him too. Girl, I see you. So she starts talking to him, saying, you know, you're not like those others. I know you're better than them. And out of nowhere, he switches up on her and starts beating her up. He's like, wait a minute, did you not hear my boss out there saying that you only speak when you're spoken to? And of course, her being a young girl, she has lost her guard. Like, she let her guard down, not knowing that, again, he's wearing that uniform for a reason. They just didn't choose him because, you know, they wanted to. They probably saw a quality to him that said, you know, he could be a Confederate soldier. And plus, again, it's their, you know, their God-given right, of course, like they said. I know my voice sounds so bad, but you're gonna have to bear with me, y'all. But yeah, he beats her up and kicks her in the stomach. Now remember, she did mention to Eden, that she was pregnant. So this is why she needed a plan to escape, because this is not a life, you know. And totally understandable, you know, you're living the bad life. Why would you want to bring your offspring into this world to do the same thing, right? So he kicks her in the stomach. She is bawling, you know, and then the boy leaves. He leaves and run away after beating her up and harming her. And the girl, actually, the next day, Julia, she goes on the field to work, bruised, okay, beaten up. And unfortunately, she obviously is having a miscarriage, and Eden comes to confront, to help her. And they're making noise, you know, she's crying. She's obviously, again, she's in a state of shock, just terrible things. And then before the overseer, the white overseer, comes over to kind of discipline them, because you know he's going to do it, one of the men on the field says cracker. He's the same guy who's been bugging Janelle Monáe about the escape. So as soon as the white overseer hears that, he's like, you know what, I'm gonna come back to you, but I really want to get to this though, you know, these two women, it's, you know, I'm gonna come back to you though. He goes over to Julia and Eden, and he sees that they're, you know, crying and that she's comforting her, and he tells her to back up off the girl. And the girl is still like going wild, you know, crazy, even with Janelle Monáe away from her, because she's not even hearing the guy's order. So he's like, go clean yourself up. That's disgusting. Go clean yourself up. And then, you know, he thinks about it for a moment. He's like, okay, help her, Eden, and be right back. We don't care that your baby just died. Too bad. So he goes over back to the guy who calls him this cracker, and gets off of his horse and comes, you know, face to face with him, trying to degrade him, of course. And then the black guy also has a gun pulled on him, because the overseer also has his own posse, a security guard to, you know, guarding him. And instead of punishing the guy right away, he sends him to like some shed, and I guess that's where they do, it looks like that's where they take dead bodies to burn them, you know. The guy see the woman who died, because the overseer had shot the lady in the beginning with the bald head in the beginning, and I guess she was wearing a necklace, and he saw that necklace in the shed, and he started going crazy. Then we see that so next we see that the man that was actually beating Eden is also the guy who's raping her. Because he's her overseer, or he belongs to, she obviously has this unwilling, suppressive relationship with this dude. Yeah, you know, rapist. So the next scene is Eden being sexually assaulted by this man who was beating her in the beginning, who was asking her for her name. It's very weird. So I guess she's in this unwilling, abusive relationship with this dude. I guess he's her keeper or whatever, because he's on top of her. And then he rolls over and says something about, you know, tomorrow will be a good day, Eden, I don't know. And then we hear a phone buzzing. And this is what caught me off guard. I'm like, what? What's going on? Cell phone. The cell phone buzz after Eden wakes up in a modern time. You know, she got a little satin bonnet on, you know what I mean? Beautiful covers, a fine black husband next to her. So what's going on now? You know, we find out that she has a daughter, and it seems like, I don't know her career just yet, but she seems like she's a political commentator, or maybe some type of professor or writer who comes on to like CNN or TV shows to basically give her view on the whole Black people issue. Okay, so we see that she is taking a conference call like over the like virtually, or some type of meeting, and the woman that she meets up with says, oh, thank you for meeting with me, Dr. Henley. So her name is Veronica in this world, in this time. She, I think, is a historian, because, you know, that's what it said on her Columbia degree, okay? Director of something history. So she's that bee, okay? She's that girl, because she has the degrees from Spelman to Columbia. She's on TV networks that obviously find her opinion to be valuable in some manner. I mean, probably not, who knows? and they're inviting her onto these shows. So she does this meeting with this white woman with like nasty teeth. I don't know if did you guys see that, her teeth? Hope they're not real for the sake of her. But they are talking about her work in some manner, but the white woman keeps saying, oh my God, your skin tone, that lipstick, it wouldn't look good on me. Like, just basically not patronizing her, but doing these weird little digs at her actual natural self. I mean, Janelle Monáe as an actress, as her being, she's just a beautiful woman. But you know, her being this character, she's just representing most black women. They have beautiful white skin. A lot of lipsticks do look great on them. I wouldn't know because I don't wear lipstick a lot, but anymore. But it's just like, girl, are we here for this or are we here for that? You are in this meeting call, from what it seems like, you're in this meeting because you have questions about her book that's coming out. We figure out that she has a book coming out. But the woman never makes any type of references to the book. And then Veronica's daughter comes in. She's like, oh, is that your daughter? Is that Kennedy? Oh my Lord, I can't wait till my daughter says that with her. And she's like, put her on the camera. Thank goodness. Veronica's like, nah, we good. And then she actually, you know, finishes up with the girl and, you know, wipes the lipstick off her face. You know, the girl making her feel a little insecure, I guess. But yeah, I was so happy because some black people will listen to a white person telling them to put their child on camera. I think not, honey. I think not. We've been through too much to know what y'all up to or what y'all not supposed to be doing. Now, so she gets to this hotel and she's, you know, doing her yoga. I mean, everything about her just seems black. She got Ivy Park on. She got a little, you know, kente-ish cloth on her head. Funny. But her yoga instructor is a white woman, girl. Especially like that when you use energy that's supposedly good. No, I'm joking. I really don't know, but I'll pass. But her friend comes in, which is Gabrielle Sidibe. I'm so happy to see her in movies now. She slimmed down. She's a great actress. She has a very youthful face. It looks like she's like 25 in every movie. But she is good friends with our girl here, Veronica. And she's telling her to be good to yourself. You overwork yourself. You know, typical, I'm a black superhero, strongest black woman in the world type of title. And, you know, her friend is just like, chill out. You know what I mean? Like, give yourself some time to breathe. And I'll see you later or whatever. So she kicks Gabrielle out because I need to get these people's names in the show. But Veronica sends her girlfriend downstairs and says, I'll see you later. I guess they're going to be meeting after her little book conference thing. She gets dressed up. She looks very well. I mean, that yellow jumpsuit with all the patterns, loving it. It's giving me like 70s vibe, and the natural hair. Everything is just costume designers on this movie. They did well. I'm liking it so far. So she goes to the desk or the counter, and she says to the clerk there, who's a woman, I want to make dinner reservations. The girl's very like very standoffish to her. After she puts the phone down, she talks to Veronica, but the way she's talking to Veronica is very like dry and off, like, I'm only tolerating you because I'm gonna get fired if I didn't. You know what I mean? I think for me, ever since I moved to the South, I've noticed the white people here are very different from the people up north, obviously, but it's the same sentiment. It doesn't matter if you're from New York City or Texas. Them folks is the same, you know, they just wear it differently. But the fragrance, the smell, always on hand, always on key, always on key, if you know what I mean. But she is talking to this girl, trying to make reservations, and the girl's just being very dry. But, you know, Victoria is probably a good Christian woman and says, God bless, and leaves her alone. Now, for me, I will try to see what her number is, her name, because I am calling the office as soon as I get upstairs. Okay, we see some white woman going to Veronica's hotel room, presumably, and it's not presumably, it is. So she gets to Veronica's room, and she is just being nasty, just messing it up, putting her DNA and just her scent all over the place. Very weird. It's like, aren't you not afraid that someone's gonna come back and smell you and see that this is not how I left my room? But we go back to Veronica, and now she's at this conference. And it says actually on the PowerPoint, she is a sociologist and activist and a New York Times bestseller. But the most impressive to me is she's a sociologist, so she should be very aware of her surroundings, you know what I mean? Because she studies the society, the social, what we do, what we don't do because of societal norms. But yeah, she's basically talking about, you know, being a woman, being a black woman. You know, of course, I feel like with something like this, it's very relatable to a group, a certain group, you know. Is it a niche? Well, I guess black women are a niche category because it depends on the type of black woman we're talking about. But her conference, it seems like even if you're not black, you can, you know, agree with her or see where she's coming from if you're a woman. But yeah, she is done with her conference, and you know, her friend Gabs basically takes her away from some type of like not reporter, but the host of the conference, and they're talking about going out and celebrating because this is a big deal. You know, it's a big milestone for her. And she's like, nah, I think I just want to stay home and sleep in and, you know, be boring. I don't know why. But later on, she gets on the elevator and she sees this white girl who's like by herself, a little white girl. And she has, first of all, the girl looks off. She's pale, she has all these outdated clothes, and you don't have a parent. No. Veronica is obviously like a little taken back, like, okay, sure, I guess I'm going upstairs with you. So she's talking to the girl. She gets to her floor, walks to her room. As soon as she's about to close the door, she sees the girl on the other side on the same floor as her. That's very off. Nonetheless, she gets dressed and go meet her friend downstairs. And you know, Veronica looks hella good, okay? Like the whole green with the pop of red. I mean, again, costumes here. Simple, but yet elegant, and it just speaks a lot, you know? I love it. So she meets up with Gabs, and they have another homegirl who's a white woman that they meet up with, and they get in the car, Uber, and they're on their way to dinner. So Janelle, oh my Lord. Veronica is texting her husband about, you know, their day or whatever. It's really cute. And she says to her husband, oh my God, thank you for the flowers. I really love them. And then her husband's like, nah, not me. Maybe one of your admirers because, yeah, I ain't sent no flowers. So now she's so now she's taken aback like, okay, sure. I mean, it's understandable. She is popular, she is known. So some people who are very weird and, you know, off and sick in the head could probably find her location and send her something. Again, that's too much for me. I mean, I'm a fan of Beyonce, but I would never, ever, ever try to, you know, invade her space. Come on, I love privacy. So if someone to even take that away from me is really weird. But anyway, back to Veronica. So they get to the dinner, and at the restaurant, they have a white waitress take them to their table. Child, it's basically the same experience I got when I went to Batters and Berries in Chicago. It's a very small corner, and this is a group of three, you know, 3 women who are eating, you know, but they give them this small little space to the left, to the, you know, in the corner somewhere, no space at all. So Veronica's friend, Gab, you still don't know her name, says, no. I know you know better than this to bring us here. You know, because obviously they're grand women. And also she's Veronica Hansley. Like she's that. You know what I mean? So I don't get where this whole, stop it. So obviously Gabs makes a big deal about it, but in a very funny way. She starts talking loud and starts saying, you're doing a great job, Rebecca. You're doing a great job. You're basically, you know, mocking the whole situation. So the waitress takes them to a much better seating area, and now they're enjoying themselves and they're talking about, you know, their love lives, because that's always the issue with That's always the issue when it comes to successful women. It's like, oh, where's my spouse? Where's my partner? Where's the love of my life? Where's my la la la? Veronica's like, oh my God, there's like a guy who is staring us down since we got in here. And then, lo and behold, a drink, a vodka cranberry comes to Gab's way. And then the waitress says, well, the guy over there sent this drink specifically for you. And then she's like, okay. Lo and behold, I keep saying lo and behold, but lo and behold, the guy who bought the drink for Gab comes over and she's like, thank you so much for the drink, but let me just address you real quick. You know, she gives him her fancy black women pointers about the drink. A vodka and cranberry is not up to her caliber. A young cheapo like me, I'm gonna take it, okay? I'm not gonna take you though, but I'm gonna take it. A young old thing like me, I'm gonna take the vodka cranberry. It's gonna take me somewhere. Again, I'm gonna take it, not you, but thanks for the drink. Basically, she beats him up and down saying, you know, we are champagne mommies. We don't do this, okay? But nonetheless, she gives her phone number to the guy and he walks away, which is very weird. Anyway, they're done with dinner and now the ladies are waiting for their cars to arrive. And all the girls get into separate cars. And I'm just like, why is that? Why can't they just come to the hotel room and hang out with her? You know, I doubt they see each other a lot. They all look like busy, successful women. So why not just, you know, come hang out with my hotel? Let's take one car. My opinion. But Veronica gets in a car, a big black SUV. Her friends do the same thing and they separate. So when she gets in the car is mad loud, okay? And she's like telling the driver, can you please lower it? First of all, I'm not getting in a car that's that loud. If I heard that music, I would have been like, ma'am, or sir, whoever the driver is, turn it down. I'm not getting in no car like that. Let's be very clear. It's the SUV, so that means it's uber black, it's all mine. Let's get something clear before I step in this car. Music down, off actually, at this point off. But anyway, Veronica's giving me the type of vibe that she's a very sweet girl. She don't like to do no trouble. I get it, girl. It's enough being an activist, sociologist, So, Veronica don't want no smoke. But she's talking to her friends and they're telling her about how they had a great night. She's texting them, I mean. And then out of nowhere, this number calls her. She picks up and the number says, yeah, I'm here. I'm your driver for the night. And she's like, there must be a mistake. I'm already in my car. So, And that's very weird. That's very true. It's like, do people even, I mean, I guess people really don't double check who's supposed to pick them up and, you know, take them to their location, but it's very important. But out of nowhere, she yells at the driver and says, can you please lower the music down? As soon as she does that, we see those nasty teeth that was in the Skype call. And then she's like, well, after all, this color does look good on me. Because she remember she took Veronica's lipstick out of her bag. Because she's the one who had rampaged through her hotel, but I don't understand how Veronica didn't know that her room was messed with. So she is the driver of this SUV, and Veronica's like, oh my God, I done effed up. Then a hand come out of nowhere, trying to like suffocate her. She bites the hand. She's yelling. Obviously the music is going loud. The windows are open. It's a SUV, black tinted windows. You can't see, you definitely cannot hear because she's not near her friends. And then the person who's trying to like harm Veronica hits her head on the window. She basically blacks out. When she blacks out, she is back in this time frame that is, I'm guessing, obviously, you know, Antebellum South, before slavery ended. Child, this is when it gets good. So Veronica wakes up to a cell phone ring in the slavery time, all right? And I'm just like, wait, hold up, wait a minute. Hold up, wait a minute. The guy that's raping Veronica gets the phone, starts saying, like, I hate seeing her husband and her kids on TV, blah, 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 talking about Veronica. Assuming, yeah, Veronica. So she sneaks to listen to this conversation, then walks back to the bed and, you know, act like she's sleeping. No wonder, you know, in the beginning of the film, she was practicing how to walk because she's trying to avoid the squeaks. Child, to be a black enslaved person. The intelligence level is just on a whole nother spectrum. But you have her in bed and she's crying, but she's acting like she's asleep. And the guy's like, I'm never gonna give you up, never. And I will say about that young man. Old geezer, actually. So the next day they're on the field and the overseer is like, where's that girl? He's talking about Julia, the young girl who got beat up by the other Confederate soldier, I think maybe the night before. So he tells Eden to go fetch her, and when she does, they see the girl has hung herself. She committed suicide, which isn't really too uncommon during the time of slavery. Come on, because being a slave was like not being human. Mistreated very, very badly, violently. So after Julia takes her life, Eden says, tonight we're gonna have our plan. Tonight we're gonna execute whatever we've been trying to say that we was gonna do for months. Who knows how long they've been in this place. So Veronica is getting ready for showtime. She's preparing her hair, okay? She's oiling down and greasing down her face. So she meets with a guy that also works in the field with her. He was the one who was told to go to the shed to clean it. So after meeting up with this guy, they go get the phone in the old man's saddle pack, whatever. And then, unfortunately, the phone drops out of their hand. They're so excited to have met and try to like actually execute this plan. The phone falls. And then the two soldiers that were responsible for Julia's being hurt, beat up, and killed are walking by and they saw the phone. And then they say, oh my God, dude. And I'm just like, wait a minute. If this is back in the day, why are they saying dude? Like, I doubt they spoke like that. I mean, I don't know. I don't know white colloquialisms. But, they're saying this is not my phone. Well, I don't want to get caught with it. You know, no phone's allowed. So I'm just like, okay. So they're in modern day time, which is so disgusting. So disgusting. So they're in modern day times, and one of the boys takes the phone and put it on him. Like, you know, I'll figure out who this belongs to. We can't have this. So obviously now Eden and her partner, the guy, are like kind of like out of luck now because they need that phone. You need to know who's being called, how the phone is being traced, all of that. So they follow these white boys to the field where they're like, you know, smoking their vape and all that stuff. Like literally now you know for a fact that this is not back in the day. This is in modern day time. They have a vape and a cell phone. So the black man who's with Janelle Monáe is carrying an axe. And when one of them soldiers leave, he comes to the other one and hit him in the head with an axe, all right? So knock him out clean. They take the phone and they go back to the cabin because they can't have reception in the field that they're at, you know? So they go back to the cabin where they got the phone from in the beginning, and then Veronica, or Eden, I'm sorry, I keep messing up. I'm gonna go with Veronica. Veronica calls 911 and she's like, we're in that area, we are on some type of plantation, we need help. So yeah, they get caught by the guy who was, I guess, Veronica's keeper, and they start having a 2-on-1 battle with him. But unfortunately he kills the black man, but Veronica wins because she ends up stabbing him when he steps outside after she ran away from him. After she stabs him, she puts him in the Confederate flag and leaves him on the floor, basically bleeding out. She goes get like some type of like wood and fire or whatever, and she goes and try to fetch the overseers, and they fall for it. They're following her because she's like, look, the general is hurt, we need your help, and they're following her, but she basically is dark, so she locks them up in the shed and closes the shed and set it on fire. So she sets them on fire, the overseer, I guess his people, or his bodyguard, she sets them on fire and then gets their horse. Okay, now she's about to make a run for it. So So Veronica finally is running and running and running. So Veronica is riding her horse and they are just making it through the field, and she finally passes this big sign that says Antebellum, Louisiana, Premium Silver Reenactment Park. So she finally makes it past this sign that says like Antebellum, Louisiana Civil War Reenactment Park. So basically, we find out that there are people who are in America, in Louisiana, in the South, at least in this movie, who have a designated area where they kidnap black people to basically live out their fantasies as being slave owners and masters and soldiers. And the thing about this is it's not very uncommon. There's actually a plantation in Louisiana where you can actually sit on a porch and have people serve you lemonade, sit in the master bedroom of the slave owner. I mean, it's really crazy. I mean, I found this out when I went to the Whitney plantation in Louisiana, and the man that was giving us our tour, he told us about the other plantations that were nearby and some of their ethics about how they want to be viewed or how they want to use their space. You know, for some white people, they don't care about educating folks or, you know, seeing their wrongs or deeming their wrongs, you know. To them, it's just like there was nothing wrong with what was happening back in the day. In fact, we would love if we go back to those times. Honey, those times are over. And those times are probably necessary, but that is never going to happen again. Actually, for a fact, you guys are on a timer and you guys are the ones who are on your way out. Facts are facts. But yes, we find out that this place was all hidden here. We were to basically reenact these nasty, antiquated, well, not for some, antiquated ideologies out because they want to live back, you know, they want to live back in a time where black people couldn't say anything. They had to command you. Again, I guess for me, my final rating of this film is 3.5. I love the visuals, the looks, but the story could have been better executed. There were some parts in it that I didn't enjoy, like her running through the like fields, and it was just weird. That part was very weird. The story plot line, good. Like I said, I could definitely see this happening in modern day times for sure. Maybe not this gruesome, but anything is possible in this society, in this world. So yeah, it's a 3.5 for me. It was good. I would say go watch it for yourself. You know, I am giving you my review of it, but more than I did. Again, there's just certain roles in Hollywood that I'm so sick and tired of seeing. Like, oh my goodness. I'm just going to talk about slave this, slave that. Let's talk about things that black people are actually very proud of and that they did prior to being kidnapped and bamboozled. Because come on, without gunpowder and steel and guns, we know the Europeans would have never conquered a group that is this naturally superior. And I said what I said. Anywho, thank you so much, family, for watching. As always, please don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. I have so much content coming out. I'm going to be very dedicated. And I know I say this to most of my loyal followers all the time, but this time I'm serious. Trust and believe me. Okay? Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I can't wait to see you guys in the next video. Bye. Mwah.